everyone, we're going to be talking about the clarinet today. We're going to talk about the different parts of the clarinet, and we're also going to talk about assembly. We're going to talk about posture and hand position while we're playing it. For sure, some first sounds that you're going to get when you're playing. We're going to talk about articulations, and then I'm going to play a song closer to the end of this video, and we're also going to talk about some cleaning. Okay, so first things first is we're going to start with the very top of the instrument. So right here, I have a mouthpiece. On the mouthpiece also comes a ligature, and that slides right over the top of it. The screws go on the back side, so facing away from you when you're playing. The part that has this little hole in it, that's going to be facing you. And you're also going to need a reed that you pre-wetted beforehand. It's going to be, for a new reed, it's going to be around 2 minutes. Sometimes it'll take a little bit longer for them to get set in and really start working. But other than that, anything about 2 minutes or less, it'll be okay to start playing on. Not less than about a minute though, so 1 to 2 minutes will be pretty good for a reed to be wet. So next thing is we're going to put our reed actually on our ligature. So making sure, our mouthpiece. So we're going to put our ligature on first, and then we're going to take our reed and make sure that the ligature is unscrewed, not all the way where the screws are coming out, but just enough that we can fit the reed in comfortably and move it around pretty comfortably. Okay, so when we put a reed on, we want to make sure that it's not too far down, so that's a little too far, but we also want to make sure that we don't have over amounts of reed hanging over the top. Okay, so when we put a reed on, we want to make sure that we can just see a little bit of black, not too much, but just enough. Okay, and I'll go ahead and show you once I have mine set here. Once you think you have your set, you can go ahead and tighten it with the screws on the back. You don't want it too tight though. You don't want to break your ligature, but this is what it's going to look like. See how you can see just a little bit of black up there. You don't want too much. Okay, so that's the basic setup for a clarinet mouthpiece. Okay, and like I said, make sure that the reed gets wet. If it's a new reed, probably about 2 minutes or a little bit longer. If it's a reed you've been playing on for a while and you've been using for a while, about 1 to 2 minutes. That'll be okay too. So make sure you keep it wet too and not let it dry out, because don't play on a dry reed. That's always bad. So you can just go ahead and lick it and just let it sit there for a while, and it'll be okay. Not too long though, probably a couple minutes. Okay, so next thing that we have, mine looks really different from your guys's, but next thing we have is the barrel. That's gonna go on the clarinet. It's actually gonna go on the clarinet, and on the mouthpiece and the clarinet. Sorry, it's the little connection between the mouthpiece and the clarinet body. So this piece connects right into there, and then that'll connect into the upper joint of the clarinet. So on your guys' clarinets, you're going to have 3 sections total of the body of the clarinet. Mine only has 1, so we'll talk about it a little bit differently. So you have a upper part of your clarinet, and you have which is called the upper joint. Then you have the lower joint, which is the second half of the clarinet, and then you have the bell at the end that comes off as well. So what you're going to want to do first is you're going to want to take your lower joint of your clarinet, and you're going to grab it where you're not squeezing the keys. That's one big thing, is you don't want to squeeze any keys or rods. And then same thing with the upper joint of the clarinet. You're going to want to take that and not squeeze the top of the keys either. You're going to twist those on. there is something called a bridge key. It's about the third key down. You're going to want to make sure that that is being pressed down, and making sure that there's a little notch in the side here. Let me see if I can show you. See that little notch moving right there? You're going to need to line that up. So you're going to press down that third key, and that's going to push out, and then you're going to slide your lower joint up into the upper joint and line that up. And it's kind of hard to see on this one, but let's see. There's two spots that it needs to line up here. On the back, it gives us a better view. Okay, so it needs to line up there. Okay, so next thing. After that, you have your main section of your clarinet put together. Next thing you need to do is just twist on your bell. You can line up the decal on the front there with the keys. It doesn't really matter, but if you want to, you can. That's okay too. Alrighty. So the next thing is you're going to take your barrel. Same thing, you can put the little logo on the front of it so then it fits in the front of the clarinet. You don't have to, it's okay. Doesn't really matter. So you're going to take that, twist it on, make sure that your cork is greased really well. That way it slides on pretty easy and we don't have to struggle to put it on. Okay. So the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to take your mouthpiece that has a wet reed on it, and you're just going to go ahead and twist that on too. When you're doing that though, you want to make sure, this is the back of the clarinet, so your thumb is going to go on the back here. You're going to want to make sure that that key right there lines straight up with the mouthpiece. So I have to turn mine just a little bit, but other than that, you want to make sure that's all in line together. And then same thing when you're looking at the front here. You're going to want to make sure that this entire front piece of the mouthpiece goes all the way down straight with the keys in the front. Okay? So, then after that, we're going to talk about hand positioning. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to rest your thumb on this key in the back here. You're going to be pressing down one of the first keys. Then you're going to want to set your first finger on the first key there, your middle finger on that second, and your ring finger on that third key. Your pinky kind of just hangs out on these side keys over here. And you don't have to press any down, but that's just where it kind of hangs out. Okay? Then in your right hand, your first finger is going to go on the bottom first key. Same thing with your middle finger on the second key, ring finger on the third key, and then your pinky once again on your right hand, just like your left hand. It kind of just hangs out on these little banana shaped keys down here. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to talk about is a G. So in your book, go ahead and flip to the fingering chart. It's going to show this fingering right here, which is your left thumb on the back, your left pointer finger, left middle finger, and your left ring finger. And then you can just rest your thumb on the little thumb rest back here. Make sure that it's not too far in, and then make sure that you're not right on the tip of your thumb. Just right in between that first knuckle and your fingernail. Okay? So the first note, G. So thumb, first left finger, second left finger, and third left finger. Okay? Everything else is kind of just hanging out close to the keys. The first sound that it's hopefully going to come out as is this. Okay, so playing on a new reed, so it's a little, it's not broken in yet. But that's hopefully the first sound that you get when you play a G. I'm going to play it one more time. Awesome. So, once you get that sound coming out of it and it's nice and full, nice and loud, we're going to move on to articulation. When we're doing our articulation, we want to make sure that we're articulating with our tongue to the back of the reed, not the tip of the reed up here, but right about here, right below the tip of the reed. Okay? And once you get that all set up, we're going to do just fine, okay? Go ahead and I'll play 4 quarter notes of it and have you guys listen. Okay, I'll do it one more time. This time I'll play 8 just so it's a little bit longer. Okay, and those squeaks are gonna come out just like mine did there. You might just be a little too tight. You might just need to relax a little bit. And it's gonna be a little weird with the mouth sometimes. So that's another thing that we need to talk about is our embouchure. We'll get into that a little bit more when we're in person. That way I can help you guys individually. But a little rough look at an embouchure is you're gonna roll your bottom lip over your bottom teeth, and then your top teeth are gonna be on top, just resting on the black part. So it's gonna look like this. Okay, so almost like you're a chipmunk. Okay, I know that kind of looks funny, but that's what you're going to be doing when you're playing. It's going to look. Okay, so your bottom lip rolled over your teeth and your top teeth are just resting on this top part here. Okay, so that's just a little rough thing, but we'll go over that a little bit more when we're in person. So, next thing I'm going to do for you guys is I'm going to play a little song of the Essential Elements books that we're going to be working out of for the next couple weeks that we're in class together. So, if you want to go ahead and turn to page 8, we're actually going to play number 28, Au clair de la lune. Making sure we keep that good steady airflow all the way through and making sure that our fingerings are moving at the same time as articulations is going to be really good together, okay? We won't get to that though, number 28, until like a couple months in, so about 2 months. That's what we're going to try to get to, okay? Next thing we're going to talk about is cleaning. I do not have a cleaning rag with me, but in your cases you have a silk cloth that has a little plastic piece at the end of it. What you're going to do is you're going to go ahead, without squeezing the keys on your clarinet, you're going to go ahead and take off your mouthpiece and barrel of off your clarinet. You can go ahead and set those down somewhere safe. What you're going to do next is you're going to take your clarinet and grab it at the bottom. Make sure we're not squeezing any keys. And you're going to flip it upside down so the bell is right on top now. So you're going to take that little plastic piece and you're going to drop it into your bell. And you're going to take the rest of the string and you're going to feed it into the bell. And then it's going to come out of the bottom, that little plastic piece. And then you're going to take that and you're just going to pull it all the way out, making sure the cloth comes out nice and smooth. And then after that, you're going to go ahead and start taking your bell off. You're going to start taking the upper joint and middle joint off of the flute, the lower joint and upper joint, making sure those aren't being squeezed. We're not squeezing the keys or any rods or anything. And then you can go ahead and put that part away. And then same thing here with the clarinet mouthpiece and the barrel. The barrel, you just twist off the mouthpiece and you put that away. And then for the mouthpiece, so some of you are going to have a little plastic case that goes over top of the mouthpiece, and you can go ahead and put that on afterward, after we put the entire mouthpiece away. But what you're going to do is you're going to take your reed off. If it's overly wet, you can just go ahead and kind of wipe it off with your lips. It's okay. And then you're going to take it. Hopefully you guys have little plastic cases like this that your reeds come in. There's a flat piece, and then there's a piece that kind of angles itself up. You want to make sure that the flat part of your reed, this bottom part here, goes in on that flat piece of the reed case. Okay, so then after that, you'll take the ligature, tighten it back up on your mouthpiece, and then after that, some of you might have it and some of you may not. You can take that plastic piece, slide it right over top there. That little open section is gonna go right over the ligature part right here. That way it fits on there correctly. Then after that, you can just go ahead and put it right back in the little slots in your cases, and you'll be all set to go. So I can't wait to see you guys in our first rehearsal as a band and get started working on all your fundamentals that we're going to be going over on the first day. Have a good one.